my.
I can't give you crap for not knowing SpongeBob stuff.
That just depends on what you consider a unicorn, then, right?
Something with one horn, I guess. So like if a spike butt.
A unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no.
One corn, a single corn. We turn the metronome off, and let's get started. So, yeah, this is Gale. Hi, Gale.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me out.
What up, Gale?
How's it going? That's good.
We haven't made a podcast in way too long, but we're getting back into it a little bit, and leave your questions in the comments, and we'll answer all your questions. And in the links in the description, we also have a Patreon, and you get exclusive content, and you get like your questions answered first, stuff like that. We also got a Discord. That's where we get most of our questions, and it's just a cool community. And also the other channels, because we got a few other channels. So yeah, as we usually start, we're not popping anything today because we already drank them because Adam took so long to get here.
My bad.
But anything happened to you, I would say this week, but it's been like 2 months. So
for me, as you probably know anyways, I got first place at Nationals powerlifting, qualified for Worlds, which I'll be going, which is in England in November.
That's awesome.
So today was first day of training for Worlds, so did squats. That's why I'm so late. I had to be able to get my legs back under me before I could come here. But other than that, nothing new.
Sweet.
That's incredible.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're reaching your goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what's after that. So.
When did you decide you wanted to do powerlifting as like your main hobby / goal setter, if you will?
I did a lot of it in high school.
The input is here, not here. Yeah, so like that light, just kind of talk toward the light, probably.
But I started in high school, and then I picked it back up right after COVID. So I started working 7 days a week, so I quit working out, and then right after COVID, I had went on a diet through COVID, went from 305 pounds down to 215, and maintained that for like 6 months, and then I started lifting. When the gyms opened back up, started lifting heavy, started competing, and then realized that I still liked it and wanted to take it seriously. So,
what's your favorite lift?
Deadlift, probably.
What kind of numbers are you pushing out?
So 650 is the most I've deadlifted.
Man.
I barely missed out on 666, which we made a joke. My friends made a joke that God wouldn't let me deadlift it.
You should have thrown on an extra half pound on either side.
So when you do kilograms like that, they make jumps. So like it's 662. And then it's like 666, and then like 702, or sorry, not that far. Sorry, 672. So it's weird how it jumps.
Gotcha.
You can't add like 1 or 2 pounds or whatever. Yeah, but my friends were making a joke that because I missed it by a hip lock. I got all the way to the top, and I couldn't push my hips through. We're making a joke that God goes, not today.
That's funny.
So you think you're definitely gonna hit that at Worlds?
That is the goal. It really depends on where I'm at, because the goal is to win. So I'm not looking to do PRs unless I'm ahead. I'm going to do weights that I know I can do.
Right. Okay.
So unless I get my latest PR on my second lift, then yeah, on my third lift I'll try to PR, just because that's the only thing that's left to go.
Right.
But like if I get to deadlift and I'm ahead and I know I can win, whether I get the 666 or not,
right,
then I'll go for it. But if I need to do like 650 to secure a win, that's what I'll do.
Right.
I've seen a guy deadlifting without any shoes on. Why?
Yeah. Closer to the ground.
Are you serious?
Yep.
I always thought that there was some sort of like...
Nope. Close to the ground, and sometimes you can feel you can get a better grip, like a push on the floor, because you can feel everything instead of pushing through shoes.
Gotcha.
So I use... Have you ever worn like wrestling shoes?
Oh yeah, I used to.
Yeah, so that's what I kind of deadlift in, because it's got because you have to wear shoes in comp. but they don't really specify what. So I wear
Gotcha.
basically that because it's got such a thin sole on the bottom. But that's why. That's why, like, strongmen, most of them deadlift in socks because they don't, because you put like regular shoes on, you got to lift it that much more.
Gotcha.
You know, it doesn't look like a lot, but when you're talking about the kind of weights they're doing, every little bit helps.
No doubt.
Yeah, and then they can feel the ground and can really push and brace against the floor when you can feel it like that. So
That makes much more sense.
Wow. Yeah, I never thought of that before. So, wild. What about you, Gale? Any accomplishments or just wild things happen in your life recently?
Man, I was up in a tree. It was in a lift, so wasn't climbing the tree this time, but it was only about 60 foot up, and I was topping the top 40 foot out. When it hit the ground, it hit on like an embankment, so the ground come down like this, and then it leveled off. So it was about the top 20% of the top, so it broke, and then it slingshotted a piece back and hit me right on the top of the head. The homeowner got it all on video. It's on my phone. You want to see it?
Wow. So
The piece was probably traveling between 70 and 90 miles an hour. The footage doesn't even pick it up. You can see it leaving the tree, and then you can see it taking my hat off my head. And then, but that's it.
good.
It happened so fast.
No, thank you.
Man, it really spooked me. That was about 3 weeks ago.
yikes.
Yep. That was a first for me. Nothing like that's ever happened to me. I never even.
Wow.
It wasn't even a thought to be afraid of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wild.
It was pretty
Well,
wild.
I had last week, I guess, I won nationals in poetry.
Whoop,
so
whoop.
That's awesome.
we got 2 national wins.
2 national champs.
Nash champs,
very
baby.
very different categories of things, but
It don't matter.
you know, it's pretty wild. In Southern Indiana to have 2 national champions of
That
things
is incredible. I didn't think about that.
in the same family.
There's so much excellence in this room right now.
I'm really making them look bad.
So yeah, that's wild. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, I guess I'll probably put the poem in the description too. I'll probably publish
Absolutely.
it. I'll publish it again. Yeah. So yeah, I guess we can move on to questions. So I did read the first question, so you don't have to bring it up. Who is Gale Cross?
That's me, guy. Well, Gale Cross is actually my father. I'm the second.
That's
I see.
Yep.
Cool.
So technically a junior then?
Nope.
No?
It says the second on my birth certificate.
Okay.
My parents didn't want me being called Junior. I
Yeah,
guess
I can see that.
thank them for that because I had enough trouble with growing up with the name Gale. Parents might as well have named me Sue.
I can see that. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got a lot of jokes about wind, probably.
Yeah, hot wind out the butt. You know, just go down the list. Any kind of breaking wind. Yeah.
For sure. All
Yeah.
right. So is that all you want to describe yourself as?
Oh man, I'm a father of 2 and 1 on the way. My wife and I have 2 together, and well, we have 1, and then she's pregnant. She's about 12 weeks along, so we got 1 coming. Super excited about that.
Yeah.
I cut trees for a living. I used to do construction. Love animals. Love the outdoors. Yeah.
A real man's man.
I don't know about all that, but I like to do sketchy stuff, I guess.
It's still sounding the same right here.
Yep. Cool.
Good stuff.
Cool. So
Not a big talker.
that's why we brought you on a podcast. Break you out of your comfort zone, I guess. The next question I also read, I think, which was, what is a story from Gale's past?
Well, it depends on how far back you want to go. 5-6 years ago, I was a very different person, using a lot of drugs, hanging out with the wrong people, eliciting all kinds of illegal activities.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Wasn't at all the kind of person that you really want in your circles. It was just, I had no discipline. I didn't live for much of anything except for myself, and I was extremely angry with God, and little did I know that I should have been thanking him the whole time. Because really, whenever I thought things were so bad, he was lessening the blow to how bad they should have been. So, yep. But
Cool.
saved by the grace one day at a time, man. And he's brought me through a lot, and he deserves all the glory and all the credit because I couldn't bring myself through anything.
Yep. Awesome.
For sure.
That's great.
We would have been in the same circles, so
guarantee
we're all
it.
right. I wasn't angry at God, but we would have been in the same circles.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I wouldn't have. You know, this
It happens.
is getting out there for me right now, being on a podcast. You know, I'm also a lot younger, so closer to the times you guys would have been in those circles is where I am right now.
Oh, do you
Generally,
20?
right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you're
Yep.
both. Well, man, you're getting older now.
Yeah, I'm 35 now, man.
Yeah.
He looked at him and said, man, you're getting
Well, I was about to say,
From a 20-year-old standpoint, I am old.
right? Yeah.
funny.
Well, I mean, you know,
And from my standpoint, looking at you, I'm feel old. So
yeah.
I remember being 20,
You
having
know-
a head full head of hair, and
Full
well,
tank of energy.
I can't relate to that, but
you're fine right now. I mean, I definitely wouldn't
20.
grow it out, but you look all right.
I'm 20 with some hair, but I can't say a full head. But yeah, I just still remember you as like, I tend to do that with people. Like when I met them, it's still how old they are.
Oh no,
you
it's
know?
I look. It's the same here looking at you, because I mean, I met you when you were like a
Right.
kid, so it's tough to go. He's 20 now.
Right.
You know, it's real hard to like mentally shift that.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Same thing with Eiley. I mean, like, she's a little kid, but she got kids of her own now, so
Yeah.
I'm still like, it is weird.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was about to say, like, you're almost 30, you're both almost 30 now, and then I'm like, wait a second. he passed 30 a while ago. And you're like,
I'll be 30 in November.
okay, so yeah.
November what?
27th.
26.
Seriously?
yeah.
You my buddy sharing same birthday? That's great.
Sweet.
And you get Nate over here.
Oh no, that's not good. If we were definitely in the same circles, sharing almost the same birthday, it would have been bad.
Oh, man, way bad. Way bad.
Yeah. I did not memorize the rest of the questions, so
Let's see
if you
what we
could
got
help
here.
us out a little bit here,
Yeah.
see what we got going on.
Is the Earth round? Interesting question. Dun dun dun.
Tell me, Adam.
My first knee-jerk reaction is yes.
Right.
That's good.
I
I would be concerned if it wasn't, but
don't have any rebuttal over any of that part of it, but I will say the more and more stuff comes out about things we believed when I was a kid, we're starting to see maybe those aren't true. But I still think the world is round.
Moon
So,
landing.
he's spot on that one.
yeah.
They've
I
got a
can
lot of proof on
definitely-
that stuff. That's like, I don't know.
Yeah. And you can see a motivation for that.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't see any motivation of convincing us the world is round. But I
Right.
definitely can see motivation for why they would say they landed on the moon.
But like, so
But
like,
they didn't. You
For
know what I'm
sure.
saying?
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I will say like the camera footage for that stuff, I believe, is like real. I mean, you can put cameras up there, like videos and stuff. So I mean, you can see that the world's round. But now the moon landing is a whole nother
Right.
ordeal. Like the biggest one made me go, oh, I think about that is they have them on video leaving the moon back to Earth. Who's working the camera?
They left the camera guy behind.
Yeah. I mean,
Thanks for taking one for the team, Fred.
I mean, it's crazy. Some of the stuff is just so crazy. You're like, they got something.
Mm.
And especially like they talk about like the materials of what the stuff was made out of, it was like tinfoil and stuff. Like the stuff definitely could like rip. Like you're not going in outer space with like the materials and stuff they had for the ship and stuff. Like it's crazy.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't really looked into the moon landing, but yeah, I have no qualms with it being either way, kind of. If that
Right.
makes sense.
Right. Like I'm not gonna get in a huge argument over it. I get like super invested in it.
It doesn't really.
Like if somebody's like, yeah, it happened. Like, all right, it happened, man.
Yeah, it doesn't really change my perception of reality,
Yeah.
whether the moon but whether the Earth is round or not, for sure. I mean, I've seen the roundness of the Earth. I've been high enough up in planes myself to see the curvature of the Earth personally. So, like, that would really trip me out if there was some proof,
Well,
where it's just like, is the plane's window or
well, the
something,
biggest thing is, wouldn't we have found the edge at this point?
right?
How many ships have gone out in the ocean
yeah.
and come? Yeah, no, I didn't see anything.
There is a Bermuda Triangle, and they also do keep the Antarctic shelf completely off limits to anybody, basically anybody, or at least anywhere inland in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Who's to say there's not more out there in the inner circles of Antarctica?
I guess
don't know.
I just need to get my pilot's license. And
I mean, I will say there's definitely stuff that we haven't discovered. I feel like,
I
mean,
Well,
there's-
yeah.
definitely.
especially when you talk about the ocean.
Well,
I mean, there's
there has
so
to be.
much stuff.
I love when they say, like, we've discovered this much of the ocean, and it's like, you have no idea how much you don't know. That's kind of how
Exactly.
don't know works.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So
How can you even put a percentage on it?
yeah,
It's like-
exactly. You have no idea what the amount you don't know is.
You know,
So,
the Joe Rogan had a guy on, and I thought it was real crazy. It talked about like they basically found like this area untouched. It's like they went into a cave, and it's surrounded by mountains, and it's got like its own like
Ecosystem.
like it's
Wow.
completely untouched, and it's just crazy growth inside of like this area. It's like they just happened to find it.
that's awesome.
I mean,
Wasn't that like in the 90s too? Like
Yeah.
not that long ago. Yeah.
so I mean, we there's just so many things we haven't seen that could be out
for
there.
sure. Yeah, that's always like the dream of someone when you're like, or at least for me, like when I was a teenager and stuff, I wanted to discover something.
Oh, if I
Like-
had the money, man, I'd be all
Yeah.
over the world checking this stuff out. I'd love
sure.
to do that.
Like,
Go inside the pyramids. I'd love to do that.
for sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Yep. Go
Yeah.
down into some of the.
They're not
the tunnels
let.
got
They
down
don't
there.
even let people in there. Like the government won't. It's like, why not?
Mm.
You know,
Right.
like what's in there?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
I mean, it could be nothing, but the fact that they won't even let people in there, it's
Yeah.
like,
Suggests-
something's in there, right?
Yeah, that makes it very suspicious.
right.
But I bet you've got to think that like deep in the jungles of South America and stuff, because like there's totally tons of like tribes and stuff that we have zero contact with, and back there somewhere there's got to be like other pyramids and stuff, or
Well, they
tunnels
found
and graves and stuff that they've built.
pyramids all over the world, though. That's the
Right.
thing. It's not just everybody thinks of Egypt, right?
Right.
But they're all over They found them all
So,
over
like-
the world.
Aztecs.
So
Yeah.
like what I would do is like try to find something remote like that where there's not all the. Of course, you have all the unbelievable dangers of being there, but at least it's like, I don't know. I feel like you'd have a better chance of getting in there than like Egypt.
That's
Like
true.
you're not gonna get
Yeah.
through the security of the most.
I mean, I
traveled
even like
place in
finding
the
things
world.
that aren't even that old. I find that even interesting. So, like, when
Right.
they're-
Yeah.
when they were doing the show on History Channel, Hunting Hitler, and they come over, they think if he escaped, this is how he would have done it. This is where he would have went. And they found, like,
Bunkers
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff.
and-
there was like an electric company that ran like electric for an area over there, and they had like Nazi symbols on stuff over there. And there was like they found something out in the woods. It looked like an old building that had swastikas and stuff in it. And it's like even that is kind of neat. Like, okay, somebody put up shop here for a while, but it was taken over by the forest at this point.
Yeah.
But even finding stuff like that, I still find like really neat, like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that is cool. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, if the world was round.
Really went
So-
off on a thing there. But
Yeah. No, that's great. That's what we're supposed to do. But yeah. What about you, Gale? Is the world round?
Man, I went down that rabbit hole maybe last year, and I saw this video of this guy. I don't remember if it was on one of the one of the Great Lakes, but he set up a target about 3 to 4 inches above the water, supposedly like 8 to 10 miles away on the other side, and then he was on this side, if you will, roughly the same distance above with a laser, and then whenever he would activate the beam, stretched all the way across the 8 to 10 miles and hit the target exactly. Hit your mic. Exactly the same distance above the water that his hand was. So, in my mind was, okay, if water finds the lowest level, if you will, and it can't be curved, just like if you pour water on the surface of a bowl, it's just going to run down the sides and such. Well, how could the Earth possibly not be flat? But then I found out, did some more research, and my dad, who's an engineer, helped me realize that it's called something thermo... it's like thermal optics something. It's basically whenever you have temperature change between two different surfaces that is so great, it can cause light to bend.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe the Earth is round, and then
Yeah.
I put it to bed.
And even correct me if I'm sure the comments will take care of me. But
about to get lit up. I can
yeah,
feel it.
but if I remember right, doesn't gravity affect light as well? I could be wrong about that for sure. But I thought
Oh, maybe.
because light is matter, correct?
Well,
No, light is not matter.
Mm-mm. No, not natural light.
Okay, so what is it? You see what I mean? Like,
Photons and...
interesting.
Huh.
So, because like light travels at certain speeds, right?
Does it travel at the same speed, though?
I've heard of
No.
photons.
so light doesn't travel at the same speed through different things. So like
Through different things, no. But say, like, if you had the sun's light versus a flashlight, is that, like, going to travel the same speed?
supposedly.
I have no suppose
That's
okay,
what I've been taught,
gotcha.
but I don't. You see, like that kind of stuff is so far out there for me. Like the space, all the research in space, and they're like, this star is this far away, and they're like, it takes 32 million years for that light to reach Earth, and then I'm just like, how do they know that? Like,
No doubt.
what are they measuring with that's faster than the light itself?
The thing is, I think everything's just a guess, right?
I agree. Kind
I
of
mean,
like
I mean, everything that they come up with is just their best guess.
Right.
Because if you look at scientists from up the years, right, like one thinks this, okay, we disproved that, but now it's this.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's just their best guess.
kind of
Right.
an odd question. If you break your nose and it's bleeding, which way are you tilting your head, forward or backwards?
Forward.
I thought it was backwards.
Right, exactly. Because for our era, it was backwards. But then they're
Right.
like, oh no, you're going to drown your own blood. It's forward so that it'll clot up and stop bleeding.
Right.
Which one is it? Because our parents told us it was backwards.
Right.
That's the first thing you do is you,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I was taught to do this,
Hmm.
which I've tried both ways because I have nosebleeds all the time. By the way,
Oh,
like
should get that
all the
checked out.
time. It,
too much
it-
cocaine?
yeah. for
Clearly,
sure.
Jason.
Especially wearing that shirt, for sure you're doing cocaine.
You look like Fear and Loathing.
But yeah. So yeah, I've tried both, and I tell you what, I prefer going forward because I don't like having blood running down the back of my throat. It's not a pleasant feeling, and I don't like it in my stomach either.
How far back are you leaning? You waterboarding yourself with your broken
I mean,
your
just
running-
like this much.
I mean,
is
how bad is your
enough
nosebleed
for
at
it to
this
just
point?
Right.
yeah. So I always lean forward.
It is. I mean, that's
But, you know?
that's a funny point because there's a lot of things that I was told as a kid that are
Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah, like eggs were bad, and then they're good, and then they're bad again,
Right.
and now they're good again.
Mhm.
And,
Because I remember when that first came out that eggs were supposedly bad for you. My grandfather was like, it's like that's all we had growing up as kids
Yeah.
is eggs.
I'm
'Cause
still
they
here.
were poor. They were poor. They had
Yeah.
they had chickens. So every morning they had eggs. He's like, I had eggs every morning for like my entire life. He's like, I'm 80.
yeah, it's wild when
And
I was
still
working.
eating eggs.
Yeah.
When I was working for Cardinal, we found that's a really old building, and we found a sign in there. We demoed some wall, and we found a sign in there that was an advertisement for asbestos
That's cool.
and its
Wow.
positive effects
What?
on like children. It was wild,
Stop.
and yeah, and it just.
What was
we
one
were just
positive
like, whoa,
effect?
this is wild.
Do you
I
remember
don't
any of them?
No, it
Alright.
it didn't like. Well, it wasn't the effects, but it was just like asbestos. Use it for this. Or
I
something. We're
wonder,
like, what?
but I wonder if they knew that it was bad, but for
Right.
some reason they pushed it out anyways.
Right. I mean,
That is the
You know what I
question,
mean?
isn't it?
I mean, we're still asking that question now.
Right, like for some reason
And
there
we
was a
shouldn't be.
guy who
The government's just trying to
Right.
keep us down. You
so,
know?
so kind of like the same
Keep
like,
us
like
controlled.
like lobbying for cigarettes or whatever, like
Oh my
so
gosh,
so
yeah.
like so maybe there was an asbestos guy or whatever for whatever reason,
Right.
and he was lobbying to somebody who's running like, well,
Right.
I'm giving you this much
Mhm.
money to help you run, you become president, you push
Yep.
Right.
whatever,
Asbestos
Right.
in all new buildings.
and lead paint.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
It's only going to kill like a couple thousand. We're fine.
Yeah, we're good. A third of the users talking tobacco.
So now let's talk about vaccine. No, I'm just kidding. I mean,
I can't. I can't talk about it.
yeah, you for real
I'll probably
can't.
get fired.
Yeah, not a good plan. Also, like the video won't make it. There's a reason I didn't finish that word. Because like if they'll flag it.
Oh sure, yeah. You come.
I remember the first podcast me and Eiley did. Google Play took our podcast down just because we said something about
like Christian values or Jesus Christ or
it was something like that.
That's wild.
We're talking about I think it was something to do with COVID, something related to COVID, of course.
We're gonna have to cut that out already.
But but like we didn't even say COVID or vaccine.
You've said it like 5 times in the past 5 seconds.
We didn't like say COVID or vaccine or the N word or nothing. And then,
you just racking them up.
And they didn't cut us out. I mean, but they still cut us out. We haven't got anything since the first episode, but still.
Interesting.
So yeah, I know they will, but we've said COVID on here a few times and they haven't ever flagged us. So
I mean, most of that stuff's a little bit more relaxed.
yeah, they've relaxed.
But they still,
because when we started was like 2020.
I think COVID's
so.
fine. I'm saying that, but I think when you start talking about the shots and stuff is where they're like,
right. They still might put that flag on us of
no matter
nanotechnology,
if you're saying it's good or bad. I think regardless anymore, they just shut it all down.
Yeah,
that's what it seems like.
Pretty much, yeah.
But since we're on the subject, how do you guys feel about the conspiracy theory that like there was nanotechnology put into some of the vaccines to target certain gene pools?
To target different gene. You know, I personally haven't studied it at all. I mean, I shouldn't say it all.
Is that
but
way
like,
out there to think that couldn't even be a possibility, though?
No,
it's not.
Not at all.
But there's a problem. Like when I was a kid, I remember that I wouldn't say that everybody was fully invested, saying the government had our best interest, but they trusted the government a lot more. Like now, like my generation now, we don't trust anything that comes out of their mouth.
Right.
I mean, everybody that's like my age or around my age, we're all just like, nah. I mean, it doesn't matter what you say. We're not even taking you at face value on anything anymore. It doesn't matter because they lie about everything. And the bad thing is they're getting proved that they're lying, but then nothing happens.
Right.
They have a big trial. They prove that they lied or did something wrong, and then they just return back to the position they were in, and they can carry on. I don't even know if they get a fine anymore, man. I mean, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And it's like if you're high enough in the government, okay, yeah, I did it. All right, go back to your job. We're done. I mean, that's all there is to it. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Evil's running awry whenever good men with capable hands to do something do nothing.
For sure. That's why we started it. No, this podcast is turned down. This is.
So at my old job, we used to talk about like what would it take for us to basically have like a revolution and try to shut the government down. Mm-hmm. It's like what at what point do you go enough's enough? Because the problem is, especially like me, you'll probably be there one day. Got wife, kids, a job. If I quit my job to go do that, I can't pay bills now.
Right.
Where are they going to live? What's going to happen to them? Especially because they're not going to be with me.
Right.
Because they're going to slow me down.
Right.
I don't want them dying.
Right. So being liability for sure.
So it's like at what point do you go, I no longer need this job. This is what's going to have to happen.
Right.
It's going to go pretty far, right? Because you're going to risk a lot doing that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then to have enough people to also have your back, like, it's also going to be like one guy does it, then he becomes like a psycho in the news,
Right.
At least that's what they try to make you out to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, me and the guys at work used to always do scenarios.
Yeah, let's do it.
And everybody goes home, goes to bed, comes back to work the next day like nothing happened.
5 men from Southern Indiana.
It's not that bad. Man. Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, it's...
How do y'all feel about the...
Go ahead.
You go right ahead. I've already asked too many questions.
I was just going to say, I've thought about that too, pretty much. All right, go ahead.
Me too, yep. That's pretty much what I was going to say. I changed my mind about the question I was going to ask.
Okay.
I would rather be in your position, though.
Yeah.
If it were to happen.
Right.
I'd rather not have a wife and not have kids.
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, because I could leave a house, whatever. If they take it back over because I wasn't there to pay, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you have, family like that, then you're like...
Right, for sure.
Oh, man.
Right, I'm not necessarily responsible for any persons right now.
Correct.
Yeah, except myself.
Yep.
Eventually, I guess once my parents get old and decrepit, but I'll probably get married before that, hopefully. I pray.
I don't know. I know
For
what
sure.
I know he's looking at, but
Yeah. Yeah. So this scar.
What shark got a hold of you?
Yeah. So my dad got really mad at me. No, just kidding.
And that's all the time we have for today.
So I was on a ladder.
No, I was 5, and me and my sister, she used to make up these. She had like this whole storyline she played into about pirates with me. Like she like built rafts and left them in the lake and all. Like she went deep into the lore with this, and she went deep into the lore with it. And it was super fun for me. I was like, I was 5, so my imagination is going wild. And she just set up, little things to make me make up and believe that the stuff was real. Anyway, so we were in this big ravine in the woods at our house, and we were looking for something. There's kind of like a cave at the end of it, sort of, just like of dirt. It's not like deep or anything. It's just like where the water has washed it out. And so I was like finding. She set something in the cave for me to find or something, Anyway, and then she's like, "I'll race you to the top of the ravine." So we're trying to race to the top, and I got like almost to the top, and whatever root I was grabbing broke, and I just slid back down the ravine, and we assumed glass in the dirt or something that just cut it there and
Ouch.
yeah. And then she ran back to the house to get my dad, and
left you in the woods to fend for yourself.
yep. And I mean, she couldn't carry me or anything. She was, only 10, so. But he ran out there in his underwear and found me in the woods. he said he could smell the blood.
Man.
Like when he entered the woods, he could smell the blood. It kind of freaked him out.
Goodness.
That's very strange.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could pick that up by scent.
Right. It smelled. He said it smelled like when you shot a deer. Like
were you
how the
bleeding
blood-
that much?
Oh yeah, I was bleeding a lot. Yeah. And
You remember that pretty well?
Yeah, I remember most of it. Yeah.
Well, then it wasn't that traumatic. Because at that age, your mind probably would have blocked it out. You think, especially the part where your dad ran out in his underwear. Oh, come on, put some pants on.
So yeah, he wrapped my leg in like a shirt or something.
His underwear. That's all he had.
Oh no, Dad, I'll die here.
And
No, it's okay, I promise. Throw some leaves on it.
and he rushed me to the hospital. They rushed me to the hospital, and So it's kind of funny. I said that like my dad got mad at me. They grilled me at the hospital late. They had like 3 different social workers come in and ask me questions.
Crazy.
And so since they did all this questioning forever, this got all dried out and everything.
Is that why your
Before
gap
they-
is so wide?
Yep.
Wow.
And then when they finally stitched it up, they only put 8 stitches in it. So, which is not very many for that big of a cut, in case you can't tell. Yeah.
I feel like it'd be something I would do. Like I'd stitch it and I'm like, all right, let's go over here.
Yeah. So.
Round the mulberry bush.
It's close enough.
So yeah, 8 stitches in that big old thing, and yeah.
I had 6
That's it.
stitches in my mouth right here years ago. You had 8 in that? Someone needs to be fired.
Yeah. I remember Danny's cut up here
yeah.
from he had 12 in that,
Goodness.
and that was around the same time.
Yeah, it was a car wreck, right?
Right, yeah.
Him, Kayla, and Travis?
Yep. Yeah. So you weren't around yet, right?
No, I wasn't around
Yeah.
yet. It's because, so that's actually like Kayla won't wear a seatbelt.
Because of that, right?
Yeah, because in that wreck, I forget exactly like what the seatbelt, but it kept her from being able to move out of the way because it locked her in place. So
I
now
see.
she won't wear one.
Wow.
Interesting. Wild. Probably shouldn't say that.
No,
Incriminating your wife.
Like the cop's gonna know who I'm talking about.
I'm gonna take her every
But,
morning
yeah.
on her
Could
way
you
to work.
imagine the
Deep
detective
diving,
work that he
investigate,
would
yeah.
have to figure that out, like her vehicle, and then when she's on the road.
Her schedule and everything.
I was listening to this podcast, and I knew you were going to not be wearing your
Could you
seatbelt.
imagine he's watching this podcast?
There's a
oh,
ticket."
really? Huh.
If that ever happens, I'd ask the same cop if he'd ever listened to any mainstream rap about all the dirt the rappers had done to
Right.
get to where they're at. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like some things they rap about, like it's real.
Yeah.
Like
It's real life.
This last guy, I actually really like his song, which is what's crazy. But he sings "Murder on My Mind," and he's actually on trial for murdering a guy right now.
Oh, man.
sounds like OJ writing his book.
Yeah,
But
oh, yeah.
I didn't do it, but if I would have,
If I would have, this is how I would have done it.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't do it now.
Which is so crazy to even put that out there.
Right, because that's your wife. Like, if you just lost your wife and were getting framed for her
Right.
murder, how tore up would you be? And then
Bruh.
you will write a book about how you would have done it had the other guy not done it. Bruh.
That is, yeah.
What?
You would never do
I
that.
would-
Right.
I think what's
Yeah.
great. I think that's what's great is like the cops that investigated that, and then they like probably read his book just to figure out what they got wrong.
That's funny. I didn't even think about
Yeah, 'cause then they're
that.
gonna be like, "That's where we messed up. That's where we could have got him."
That's wild. Man.
Man, yep.
I mean, I can't believe he was found innocent of that whole thing, that entire deal.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy that trial was so big because I even know quite a bit about it, and that was before I was even born, right? So,
Yep.
yeah.
That was a huge trial.
Yeah.
It's crazy over the years, just the big trials we've had, like
Yeah.
that, just just everybody in the entire United States is watching what's going on.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting.
Of course, now it's watered down with a bunch of stuff, so kind of hard to watch.
Yeah.
No doubt. Anytime, like the whole submarine thing, man. Like, what was really going on that week that we should have been paying attention to?
It's,
Right.
uh,
That's exactly what as soon as that story popped up, I was like, something's.
Well, so
Something's
the
weird
most
here.
recent one right now is that government came out and said aliens are real,
That's
Oh,
true.
yeah.
and Biden's son was on trial the entire time while that was going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Aliens are real,
Case in point.
guys.
did you watch any of that? Did you guys watch any of that stuff?
I haven't.
You
really?
need to watch it.
Yeah, I
If
probably
if you can
should.
find out, it's funny. I think it's funny.
Yeah, I've listened to like some podcasts of people talking about it, but they're mostly just riffing about stuff.
Like,
But-
so are aliens real? It's like, yes. Like, so how long have we been in contact with them? For years. I mean, it's has anybody ever been injured? Around we've had a bunch of people injured and some have died, and I mean, it's the information they bring up on this stuff is I was cracking up.
That's wild.
And then you switch over the other channel and like Biden's son's on trial for all kinds of crazy
Right.
stuff.
Cocaine in the White House.
No, we don't know who did that.
Oh, for sure.
Crazy.
There's cameras in every corner of that place with tons of security all over the place, but we don't know. We have no
I
clue.
have no clue.
For some reason, that camera wasn't working that day.
Right, of
Shocking.
course.
And we also had a small fire in the back corner of the office where we had all the paperwork. There's always a fire or something.
Right.
Or we just lose the evidence.
Or a plane crashing into that part of the embassy that
The,
paperwork's
the
kept
specific,
in.
just, we got the whole thing to pick from, but we're going to hit this spot
Yep.
where we have all the files.
Right. Yep. For sure. That's great. So I did see that one of the questions. I think they put on the wrong thing, but they were like, one of the questions was one of your favorite conspiracy theories or whatever.
Did we do some of that last time?
We
too?
we did, and
Yeah.
we've gone over so many today.
Yeah.
Like I don't think we need to answer that question. That's all I was gonna say.
So that was on our last one, too.
Yeah. I saw someone ask questions on the wrong.
I would say my favorite one probably had to be Project Bluebeam.
Ooh. Oh yeah, that's an interesting question. What makes you truly like a person? Like, what is the process of deciding who you choose as a friend?
A lot.
Oh, thank you.
I like
Glad you
those
dove
ones,
into that.
Well, obviously, first thing is similar interests,
Yeah.
similar sense of humor,
Yeah, that's
You know,
that's probably the most important
if
for
I'm
me.
cracking about jokes about certain things and then they take it seriously and it's like, okay, well, we're not gonna
Yeah.
flow together very
Right.
well.
Yeah, as long as me and my friends can joke about stuff, then we can enjoy doing just about anything. You know what I mean? Like I definitely gotta have humor.
Like my wife calls
In sync.
my select friends going like on a man date or whatever, and it's because we were literally like the same person. Is what it comes down to. We'll watch the same shows, play the same games. We can just literally hang out like this and just talk for hours
Right.
about nothing.
Perfectly
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Gale?
I'd say mine would have to be seeing how they respond in the face of adversity. Like whether something that they really hoped for didn't follow through, or just a situation like that, man. Like that will tell me so much more about a person than any dinner or fun we could have together. I
Yep.
feel. And to see how someone reacts whenever everything's falling apart.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's definitely good to have loyal friends, I guess. Or, is what you're saying is like,
Well, kind of like how,
or at least,
how if they so for instance, guy just lost a promotion he thought he was going to get. Instead of cussing the other guy or spreading stories about the other guy, or instead of saying, oh, poor me, I should have got it, it was rigged, he'll go and congratulate that guy genuinely, and then go back and maybe focus on why he didn't get the job. If he wants to apply for it next time, he won't just say, well, screw all of this, burn all the bridges,
Right.
burn it all to the ground. And I guess I kind of used to be a little bit that way. So maybe that's why I really try to stay away from
right.
people like that.
I mean, I definitely agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that for sure. But I think that still plays into the similarities, right? Like if you're a guy who does that, then you're not going to want to be around somebody who acts that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to be kosher with that type of person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah. And, yeah, it's interesting, friendships, like, I definitely enjoy having friends that are really willing to just be like, we don't get offended at each other. Like, we'll cover very offensive things that could be very emotional, but, like, we both kind of have, like, an agreement, like, this, we're willing to just go through this and it doesn't matter. Like,
It kind of goes with like the sense of humor thing.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like if I can make a joke about your girlfriend being
yeah.
basically you rock her to sleep every night. And you can laugh about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we're good. But if you get mad about it, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, our sense of humor is different.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like I'm really grateful for Ethan, that I have Ethan. Like we joking wise, definitely we go hard on each other.
And he's funny
And
too.
yeah, oh yeah, he can really rip into you, and and I'm really grateful for that. And also since we're able to do that jokingly on serious topics, we're able to do that too. Like we disagree on plenty of things,
and you will,
like theologically and stuff, but we are very willing to talk about them in depth without getting offended about it.
Yeah,
because
That's
like
huge.
I really
That's huge.
especially like I need fellowship as far as in having theological discussions, and like because I'm very passionate about it, but usually people in the church are also very passionate about it, but they get super offended.
Yes, that's
Because-
that's a lot of
It
people.
contracts their
When
beliefs.
yeah, if you believe different than they do, they just get super offended about it and defensive, and because I think a lot of it is Christians, doctrine is important, and then they think like you're taking them farther from God,
Yes.
kind of, if you disagree with them. So I can see why, but you gotta have friends that are willing to talk through things that are offensive with you without getting mad at you as a person. You can, I guess, be mad at the thing you're talking about, but like
True.
be willing to talk about those things openly, and then you might actually learn something.
I think that comes with maturity, though, too. Like, I remember being younger and being, really caught up about that.
Right.
But then, like, as you get older, you realize it doesn't matter. If they want to think
Right.
that way, that's fine. It doesn't
It's true.
change your life.
You don't have to die on that hill
Yeah.
necessarily.
Right, yeah.
Yep, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, you would hope, but there's definitely like some older people that you might consider mature in a lot of areas where like they might say something you're just like,
you get in that
I'm
generation
not
of
going
old.
there.
If you go,
You know.
if you get in the generation of old people, that's the problem though. They're so set at that age. It's like even your dad talks about like politics because he drinks coffee like the older guys,
right, yeah.
and he's like, I can't believe that this is the way you think. And after all the years of things you've seen and been a part of, that's the problem. After a certain age, I think you quit paying attention.
Right.
You know, they still think that back when in their 20s and 30s when they paid attention, that it's still the same way now. But things have changed so much, and they're not looking anymore.
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting to see. For sure, I guess once you get to a certain age, you probably settle more into like your beliefs and stuff, and then you're not interested in working things out.
I think you also stop caring at some point in time. Right?
So that's probably more of a stage I'm in.
You're more focused on the end of the road at this point.
Yeah.
Am I right with God? And then that's it. And
yeah.
Can I have enough money to retire so I don't have to go to work for the next 10 years before I die? Or
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Well, I guess that kind of leads into this question, which is super, super vague. It says, what is sin?
Anything we think, say, or do that separates us from God or makes him sad.
That's pretty...
Anything that you enjoy.
That's not true. That's not true.
Don't
listen
to
that.
No fun being a Christian, man. It's a drag.
The things that you really enjoy in life and want to do.
Oh man. No, that's true. That's really true because there's the Romans 14, I think, that talks about like, so there's definitely things like in the Bible that are specifically sins. But then there's tons of stuff in life that's not specifically in the Bible, right? And there's a lot of nuance to life, and there's a lot, right? So, but, it talks about the, you might eat the meat because you have faith, and then someone else might be stumbled by the meat, and so you don't, out of love for them, you don't eat the meat in front of them and all that. But, it also says if you have doubt about eating the meat, then you shouldn't eat the meat.
If you have doubt, spit it out, right?
Did you just make that up for real?
That's incredible.
I started laughing when you said it at first. I was like, I gotta say this out loud.
I'll make out a t-shirt.
That's great. I love it. But like you said, anything that so like if you it comes down to personal conviction on a lot of stuff. So if you feel like it's pulling you away from God, then it is. So
that's definitely what I've always lived by for sure. Is because that's the way my grandmother always kind of explained it to me. Is if that's what you're carrying, then that's you personally. It's not everybody.
Right.
If God's telling you to quit doing this or whatever, then that's you. You need to quit doing that.
Yep, for sure.
It's incredible how we have so many different religions because God probably did speak to some person, but it was for their journey, not for them to go make a religion that everybody should be doing their same journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Yeah.
I think it is crazy about how many we have, though. I mean, you really break it down, like how, just all the different types of religions there are.
Yeah, it is interesting to see, though, like what people...
will believe
fall for. It's like
I do believe that most of them that I've heard, there's a lot of similarities though.
Yes,
too. Like the basis.
Well,
of it is similar.
I can see.
Then they start branching off into some
different
stuff.
Like I can kind of see for sure I can see how you could be Muslim. If you grow up in the East, you know what I'm saying. That's not how can you be that stupid? You know what I mean? But when I see people Mormons. You just look at Joseph Smith and you're he literally wrote himself into the Bible with his own hand, and you can just look. You could go to their website and look at it, and
I love Joe Rogan's take on.
And
on
they
this,
still just like it. They still just believe it. They just choose to believe it, even though it's
He's like,
dude-
I'm not going to believe a religion of a guy who we know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like you could have met this guy.
Exactly. It's insane.
That's funny.
So I don't see how like millions of people can fall for something like that, but
I don't know.
That's
I
interesting
can
to me.
see how some people can fall for it. I mean, when you really like meet some of these people in the real world, you're like, I can see how some people
yeah.
they're desperate. They're desperate for something.
I guess so.
And for whatever reason, that's what they pick, or that's what they find.
And those
The
religions,
stencil that kind of fits them
and
how
always
they want to be.
always those religions like Jehovah's Witness or Mormonism or
And some are so strict.
other like that.
Some are
They're
so
always
strict.
they're always like Jehovah's Witness. Like
Yeah.
you can only read the Jehovah's Witness Bible.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And so that keeps people stuck in there because they can't just read the Bible and then learn,
The
this is
truth.
whack, And
What I find crazy is like,
that-
something like you can't eat like red meat.
yeah, yeah,
I
it's
think
interesting.
that's Jehovah's, isn't it? There's
I'm not
I
sure.
don't remember.
I think it's
I
red.
don't-
I think it's red meat. Like they can have like fish and chicken, but they can't eat red meat.
Oh, interesting. I'm sure there is stuff. I haven't like studied. I've studied a lot of the major teachings of like LDS and stuff like that. I understand what they believe about becoming gods and the stars, and because I like to focus on the center of religions so that I know what they're actually teaching. Because that's what the center of it is what matters. Versus the little stuff like that. But I don't know about stuff like that. But
Right. I just work with a girl that I'm pretty sure that's what she is. Like I could have it wrong, but whatever she is, like she can't eat red meat,
that's interesting.
and she kept it for years. And she goes, I still believe, but I eat some red meat every once in a while now. It's
She has her
like,
cheat days.
yeah, cheat days of our religion. Yeah, that could be dangerous.
For the rest of the world, it's Friday, Saturday night at a bar. For her, it's at her kitchen table while the kids are asleep eating a piece of steak.
The kids are in bed. Yeah.
Here's him coming downstairs. Hides
What
it real
smells so good?
quick, throws it in the
It's
other
the
room.
tofu.
It's the tofu.
Bologna, I've smelled that.
Dude, my mom gave me some cheese the other day, and it was basically just tofu.
I made the mistake one time when Nathan and Rachel had their new grocery store.
Yeah.
I thought it was cheese. I didn't read it, unfortunately. I just kind of just picked it up,
So disappointing, isn't it?
and then I read it before I actually ate any of it, and it said tofu. I didn't even try it. I threw it away. I didn't even eat any of it. I was like, I'm not gonna like this.
That's funny. I gotta admit, though, we have a friend in our circle that's a vegan, and so we cater to her sometimes, and we got vegan steak for her the other day, and
It's like an impossible steak or something. What that called?
well, yeah, and it was like steak strips, like that kind of steak that you fry in a pan for stir fries or whatever. It was actually really good.
Dude, a lot of that has a lot of flavor, man. Like,
Yeah,
a
it
lot
actually tasted
of
good.
flavor.
Well, you have
It-
to.
Yeah,
exactly true.
yeah. It tasted like mushroom. It
I
did
wonder how
remind me of
really,
mushroom,
that
but
stuff is. Like, I wonder, like,
Like the
is
base.
that stuff
it's
really
like,
good for you? Like,
Right,
Is
yeah, I
your
don't
body
know.
able to really process that
well,
stuff well?
it's made out of
like
plants,
beans
so
or,
I guess it'd just be like
cauliflower or
eating any other plants, I guess.
so. So, yeah.
But
So it's like, is vegetarian and vegan the same thing?
vegan
No.
is you eat eggs, you eat byproducts, milk, eggs, and stuff. Vegetarian, you don't eat none of that.
it's the other way around.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah.
Oh.
So vegetarian, you eat vegetables, but you'll eat eggs and vegan, you don't eat any animal products at all. So you don't eat
Really?
milk or eggs
I've had
or
that backwards from your whole life.
yeah.
My whole life's a lie.
But do they realize that they're starving the animals out? They're eating all their food.
We're talking about animal cruelty. You're taking off
Yeah.
their plates.
Right. So we got to kill the animals because you're eating their food.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I find it whack when people do it for animal cruelty. So like the girl I know, they don't. Her whole family does it, but they don't do it for like animal cruelty reasons. They just do it for like
The health.
yeah,
factor.
and they don't eat like processed foods or anything. It's like
Well, I understand that. I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with that. You know,
But,
I do think you need meat.
yeah.
I agree.
But I'm
it
also
was
a power lifter trying to build muscles.
Well, I mean, look
Yeah.
how our teeth are shaped. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
Yeah.
it tastes so good.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is
It's so good. It touches your
we had
lips.
this vegan steak, and then we also made real steaks and like bacon wrapped steaks.
Oh
And
man!
so I ate the vegan steak first, and it was amazing.
Can we bring a skillet in
And-
here next time and cook while we
Could you imagine that?
just hearing the sizzling in the background?
Yeah.
You ever watch The Office? I know you do.
Yeah.
You watch The
It's
Office?
been some years, only a couple episodes.
Get him
Loved
out of
it.
here, man. What do you like?
I loved it. I got something in my eye.
It just
there.
reminded me of the episode where Michael burns his foot on the George Foreman grill
Uh-huh.
because he likes to wake up to smell of bacon. So when his first alarm goes off, he plugs the grill in and puts bacon. So that way, when his second alarm goes off, he wakes up to the smell of bacon.
Genius. I might just like have a George Foreman beside my bed, put a timer on it for like 5:30. It turns on and the bacon starts to heat up, but then your
Bacon sitting there all night.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. You might be playing a little bit of a
At
different
least I have
game.
the smell.
Get it.
I don't have to eat it, I guess.
Well, who would
Anyway,
want that?
I know. I was just thinking
It'd be
that
way
too.
too
What a
tempting. I'd
waste.
be like, it can't be that bad.
Get
30
yourself,
pounds lighter, 3 days later.
Just
Man.
vomiting every day.
Both ends. It's no good, man.
What have you been eating? Morning bacon.
well, you get yourself a little mini fridge next to your bed.
That's
Put a little
true.
mini fridge on your
Pull it out,
nightstand.
plop it
Such
on
a
there.
crazy put together at this point. I gotta get a mini fridge now.
That's true. A timer.
George Foreman
George
grill.
Foreman.
I mean, it's just. See the house burning down because I didn't wake up.
Yeah, you get to work and then you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, my wife's like, "Hey, there's a small fire in the corner of the bedroom. You didn't turn your grill off."
Oh man.
I really want to show you the video of me getting hit in the face with that piece of wood.
I really want to see it.
Yeah,
It
let's
just
see
so
it.
happens a customer was recording it.
Yeah, that's wild.
She sent it to my email. She laughs at the end of it. I don't know if it's a nervous laugh or if she's just like,
She
that
just
was
doesn't
funny.
care about
He just
your
got
life."
smoked with that.
So my daughter plays soccer, and she was looking down and ran into the goalpost. And you can hear it. You can hear on the video going ting, and then you can hear me going
That
Just
is my
dying
sense of
laughing.
humor, too. Fair enough. That's hilarious. Bless her heart.
It's horrible.
How old was she?
8.
That's great. Here it is.
So is that Mariah or me? Dang, I'm getting old.
So I'll zoom it, and the piece breaks from about there.
Oh,
Hang
dang.
on. Hang on, I'll zoom in so you can see it a little better.
Oh wow! You can see the head
And then my
fly
hat,
off, man.
dude.
Man.
It hits me, and the sweat from my face comes off.
That's crazy.
It
Wow.
was so fast. Yeah. It was a good time.
Wow.
Especially on like a bigger mark or
So-
something, man. That looked like it.
So did it hit your head or did it hit
It
the...
hit my hairline. If you hear the knot, I don't know if you can still see anymore, but he had like 3 bumps here, there, and there for
You see,
last 3
like
weeks.
something's
Yeah,
there,
kinda.
but...
It was
Yeah.
it was no fun, man. I think it gave me a small concussion.
Oh, wow.
I've been there. You're right.
I know it. Back during football years and stuff.
Yep.
I had, I think, 10 and 4 years. My mom told me. I don't remember most
I
of it.
had a bunch in football. I've had
Boxing.
2 out of football. The last one I had was probably my worst. We got rear-ended
Ooh.
and
yeah.
at a stoplight at Bustler's.
Oh, dang it, Percy.
Yeah, and and apparently Kayla said that I hit my forehead on the dash, and then but I don't even remember that part. All I remember is getting hit, and I remember being thrown back in my seat, and my head just it was killing me. But my lip was bleeding. Like I had my lip bleed. She goes, "You hit your face on the dash." Because I was leaning. I had my seatbelt on, but I was leaning forward, looking at my phone. So we got hit. Immediately, my head went to the dash, and then I flung all the way back in the seat.
Oh, man.
And it was literally like I got out, I felt dizzy, felt like I wanted to throw up.
Mm-hmm.
And then when when it's got this is the best part. She started questioning me. She's like, she goes, she goes, who's president? And my immediate thought was Obama.
Wow.
It knocked me that far back, and but I knew it wasn't right. I go, no, it's like Trump. It's like that's not right either. And then I couldn't think of his name. I could not think of his name, and all I could get out was I didn't vote for him. And she goes, "Let's get you checked out." And she could tell I stalled for like a really long time, and then I couldn't
Right.
even get his name out.
Wow.
Because I didn't say Obama and Trump out loud. I said it in my head.
Oh, I got you.
But in my head, I was like Obama. I was like, that's not right. And I was like, Trump. Like, that's not right. And I was like, I couldn't get Biden out. I was like, I didn't vote for him. She's like, let's get you checked out.
That's funny, man. Oh wow.
Dang, Percy.
But she was driving a Mustang, and we had Chevy.
Traverse.
Yeah, it was the Traverse then. So we were up higher. She totaled her Mustang because she's so low.
Yeah.
And we
Didn't
got
get much to the Traverse.
I messed up like the back hatch. That was it.
Wow.
So our insurance had to pay for the back hatch. Had to pay for my hospital bills. That was expensive. I didn't think it'd be that bad. But like to go and get checked out of the hospital,
right?
That was expensive.
That's wild.
Yeah.
They had to pay for that, and then their car was totaled. So, well, it scared me because they gave us their insurance, and it was general insurance, and I'm like, this could be a battle.
Right.
Like cheaper insurance like that, you always kind of worry you a little bit.
Yep.
I've had an eyelash in me all the last 30 minutes, and it's just not
Oh,
being
man.
cooperative.
Yikes.
Yeah. That's all right. There's worse things in the world.
Yep, for sure.
Booty cancer.
That would be worse.
I don't know.
That sounds bad.
At least you could be like, well, I have cancer.
I have an eyelash in my eye.
Right. It just doesn't
I have
sound
cancer.
very. Yeah.
Now the eyelash doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah.
So I got a scenario for you, both of you. And
All right.
you guys can both answer this. But so I was at work, and so something happened. It sparked a discussion with everybody, and we had mixed feelings on all the answers. So one of the guys was leaving for lunch. Someone else was, hey, would you pick me up lunch too? He's like, yeah, no problem. Get in my car. So her exact words were, so if you're sitting in the driver's seat, the gear shifter's here. My money is in the pocket in front of the gear shifter. Where do you reach?
Is it a manual car or is it automatic?
It's automatic.
Oh.
It's automatic. So the gear shifter's here next to you, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Right? So the money's in front. Where are you reaching?
Right E?
So where's the gear shifter at for you?
Right by E?
Okay, and then where are you reaching?
Right by E.
Okay, what about you?
Where's the money? I'm confused.
In front of the gear shifter.
Okay.
So where are you reaching?
Oh, like you saying in front of it or on the other side of it?
Just answer that part first, and then we will go from there. So if this is the gear shifter, I said the money's in front of the gear shifter. Where are you reaching?
Yeah, here.
Okay, that is probably 90% of the answers we got. There is a 10% answer
Oh, is it
this way.
Oh, yeah.
What?
So the gear shifter's here. They're
Yeah,
reaching
in
here,
front
saying
of
that's
gear
the front
shifter. Gotcha.
of the gear shifter.
Because they're saying that it's facing you.
Yes, that was their argument. Is I'm looking at the gear shifter, so to me this is the front of the gear shifter.
Oh, heck no.
Right. I said so
What's
his
the front of the vehicle?
right.
Right,
So
yeah.
this is where we get into it, and he tries to give me his reasoning, and he goes, and his reasoning's bad. And I told and we go over this like your reasoning doesn't make any sense for this.
Your logic is flawed.
He goes, well, when you're looking at a tree, he goes, when you're looking, that's the front of the tree, right? And the other side's the back of the tree, no matter what side of the tree you're looking at. This is his logic so far. So
Yeah.
I go, the problem with that is there's not a technical front to a tree.
Right.
There is a front and a back for the car, and for everything you got a back seat, a front seat, the front of the car, the back of the car. Everything has
Yeah.
a front to back motion
Yeah.
in the car.
Also, there's
Yeah.
a button on the gear shifter most of the
Right.
time.
And so that's the problem you're going to have. Is there's a flow to the car,
Yeah.
a front to back, where there's not for a tree. So I understand your logic if we were talking about a tree, right?
Well, I will say,
Yeah.
So most trees, especially if they're on flatter plains, they'll have a lean to them one way or another. And you can tell usually if you look down at the base of the tree, you got the neck of the roots that come out. You'll have fatter roots on the back side of the tree per its lean. So if you're looking at a tree and it looks fairly straight, you look down at the roots, and if it looks like it has bigger, bulgier roots on this side, it's because it's holding the tree from going that way.
Why'd you bring a tree guy? The 90% of the population probably doesn't even know that. I definitely didn't know. I've never heard that.
That's true.
But that was his logic, is a tree.
Okay.
And I'm like, I understand that logic in a sense, but with a car, you have a front to back to everything in a car.
Yep.
So That's so I was saying that. Like,
As
that's
long
a
as
front.
it works. So is it like we only perceive things off of their use. So like if your car stops working, now you just own a big hunk of metal that you have to deal with. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like it doesn't, if it's not running,
It's still
then you
it's
don't perceive
still-
it as like a
But
viable car.
there's still a front to back to the car.
not if it can't move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's still a back seat and a front seat.
Yeah,
There's still a
like-
front of the car and a back of the car.
But you only think that because you know
There's a
how
steering wheel in
how
the
cars
front
work.
of the car.
That's not true. The house. So the whole thing, he threw in house for whatever reason. So if we're standing in the backyard and you said there's a sign in front of your house, it's not going to be in the backyard. It's going to be in the
Right.
front yard because there's a
Right.
front and a back to a house.
Right? Yeah.
It doesn't move. There's still a technical front and back. Even if a car
Yes.
doesn't run, there's still a front and back to a car.
Yes.
So
Agreed.
his scenario of a tree just doesn't work because there's not, for
Yeah,
most of us,
I
there's not a front and a back to a tree.
Yeah. Right. Right, but that's also like what he's saying. Like for most of us, like we look at a tree, we don't perceive the front and back of it because we don't think about it
So if
going
you-
a
so
different
if you
direction.
told
but
me-
he does because he has to think about how it's going to fall and all that.
Right.
So that's
Sure.
why he has to see that kind of stuff.
But everybody's in a car. Everybody's driven a car or
Yeah.
rode in a car.
I
knows
agree.
about a car.
I mean, I'm totally on your side here.
So
but,
so there
yeah.
you can't be confused with the direction of that.
yeah.
But
One thing that confuses me is when someone says left or right side of the car instead of driver
agree.
side, passenger side.
I agree
Okay.
because it depends on
Kills
where
me.
you depends where you're looking at.
Exactly.
Right.
Orientation. Looking
Right,
forward and
right,
backwards.
right. Are you looking at it from the front or from the back? Yeah. When you're in the car, when
But
you're not
front
in
and
the car.
back, I'll never get that confused.
Right.
Usually, I wouldn't think.
So
Right,
when he did the whole, so we go through this whole scenario, right? And he's just, and we kind of just parted ways, like, okay, that's fine if that's the way you want to look at it, whatever.
Idiot.
And we're like, I go, so if you're standing in front of me and I'm looking at your back, is your back now your front because I'm looking at it? I go,
And what do you say to that?
he goes, well, no. I go, okay.
Okay, have a great day.
Yeah. I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
But it just, it's the problem is it got really weird because the person who told him the money's in front and then he reached for the back, but then he did go to the front and found it.
Right.
I mean, he figured, okay, well, obviously she means this way, even though his initial thought, but she tore him up and called him stupid and everything else. That's why it got so out of hand.
I see.
But it's like, because we discussed it, we walked away, okay, not a problem, whatever, if that's the way you see it, that's fine. But she had to like call him names and stuff, and that's why it turned into like this big debate.
Oh, so I have a funny.
Women.
But he was not the only one who thought that could be perceived as
Interesting.
the front. Because we had, I will say, about 90% we all agreed that's the front, but we got about 10% that was that their first reach is here. So
Yeah. Interesting.